It's LA Guns right here on the Classic Metal Show from the Point Break soundtrack, as well as the Hollywood Vampires release that is Over the Edge. That's for Steve Jackson in the chat room. I thought that'd make a good companion song to the Steven song. Did you like that last Steven song? I know you're a Zeppelin fan. Did you like the Zeppelin influence with that?
I do. It's a good solid song, man. It's a good solid album. I like it.
Yeah. So, anyway, regardless of your thoughts on the album, if you're into Zeppelin and if you're into classic Van Halen, you're gonna like that record.
Yeah, it's a strong record from Steven. I mean, he's put out some real bags of shit.
I'll agree with that as well.
I mean, Social Intercourse was not very good, and we've always goofed on Fueler a ton, but. This one is really pretty good for him. So.
Yeah, well, I like the change up in it, but it's a very classic record, is what it is. I mean, it's got a lot of the elements of just a good classic sounding classic rock record in a lot of ways.
Right. No, it's very strong. It's funny, dude. Did you happen to see? Last week, maybe the week before, I don't remember when, but on the CMS page, I posted a question about people liking the Vertex record, and it was almost unanimously yes. I was stunned by that because I know you hate that.
I didn't hate it. I just wasn't a big fan,
and I wasn't a huge fan. It had one or two songs that I thought were cool. But I didn't think it was great. Boy, everybody seemed to really like that record.
Well, it was definitely different. I mean, I know when I first heard it or became aware of it and heard it, it was hard for me to believe that this was Stephen Pearcy.
Yeah.
It
was him trying to be Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that was so far out of character of something that you would expect him to be involved with.
Right.
But, I listened to it. I mean, would I go, man, I love that record, or does it stand out for me? No, not at all.
Vertex or 2?
Oh, I'll listen to Vertex before 2.
Yeah, I would too. 2 is awful.
Yeah, it's just, wow.
I'm sorry, but that is definitely Rob Halford's humongous swing and a miss. That is the lone record that he did, well, other than Nostradamus. That is the lone record. That's definitely the lone record in his solo career that is just shit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, what an awful listen that is. Oh, God.
Well, it is like you said, it is surprising, what our fans, or whenever you put your Twitter questions out there, some of the responses we get.
Yeah, it is.
Because I often just like, oh, okay, I would have never guessed.
Mm-hmm. I like doing that. And it seems like a lot of people get turned on to some different bands, too, that they weren't aware of. Because I get that a lot, too, of people are like, oh, I never listened to this before. That's like, well, how'd you miss that? But then again, it's, we're so fucking locked into it, or were back in that day, that, we bought everything. If it looked like it might be a hair metal album or a classic metal album, we would buy it. And, so we heard a lot of stuff that I think a lot of people just missed on.
I'll agree with that as well.
Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into something a little more silly, shall we?
Why not?
This is something that I suspected, and I think this is something we've discussed pretty thoroughly on the show.
Okay.
Apparently gay men are becoming lesbians.
Oh. So they're gay.
They're gay men, which means that they're attracted to other men, supposedly.
So then they are transitioning to being chicks.
So they can be with men.
But then they change once they transition to being a chick, into now going after chicks?
I guess.
That's just brilliant.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. I was listening to a talk show earlier this week. Trying to think what the guy's name is. I can't think. It's not somebody that I normally listen to, but I just happened to catch it. the other day, and he's one of these people who he's kind of locked in on social norms, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
And, he takes these listener questions at the end of the show and gives his opinion or thoughts on it and whatever. And somebody asked him the other day, do you think there's more homosexuality today than ever? And his answer, I thought, was pretty provocative in some regard. He says, I don't think there's more homosexuals today than ever. I think that there's more homosexual behavior than before, because whatever the norm is or whatever the trend is in society, people will follow it.
Yeah, true.
So basically what he's saying is that people who are truly homosexuals, he doesn't think that the percentage of them are higher today than they were, say, 30 or 40 years ago. He just thinks that the behavioral, the homosexual behavior is much higher today,
right?
Because people act out. I remember about, I'm gonna say good 15 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago. I know that there was a trend among high school girls mostly, to say that they were lesbians, because it was
hip or whatever.
Yeah, it was hip.
Yeah,
and then that sort of just went away. But I remember that just being, for a year or two there, it was like really, really prevalent,
right?
That these girls were professing to be lesbians.
Sure.
Then all of a sudden, don't hear anything about it, and they didn't end up turning out to be lesbians anyway. They were just going through this popular phase.
Yeah. Because
they were gaining attention because of their behavior or acting that way. Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Oh, it's easier to be a lesbian than to be a fag man. It just is, because to be a lesbian, you can literally get away with it without really anybody knowing. But to be a fag man, I mean, for God's sakes, you got to invade another man's asshole.
Well,
and being a chick, what do you got? Some finger play?
Well, but you're making the assumption that people who are acting out are actually involved in actual physical contact as well.
Well, if you're not having physical contact, what the fuck is the definition of being gay?
Well, I'm not saying, no, I'm talking about the behavior.
Okay.
Not necessarily, being a poser, more or less, is what I'm trying to say. Is that you're hanging out with these people and you're acting like you're with them, or you're, portraying the part. Right. But you may not necessarily go the whole distance.
Yeah. Right.
It's like gay. It's like a guy who goes to a gay bar. And he may not necessarily be gay, but he's acting out.
Sure.
And he wants to hang out with a bunch of gays and whatever, but he doesn't necessarily go the whole penetration route.
Right. Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. You never been to a gay bar?
I have never been to a gay bar.
Yeah, it's kind of a creepy feeling.
Well, I don't have any desire to ever go to a gay bar.
I used to, there was a gay bar in Korea. I used to go there a lot because their drinks were a lot cheaper, and I was in shape. So then this is such a fag story, but whatever, I'll tell it. I would go in the bar and guys would buy me beers, and I was always broke because they were
propositioning you.
Yeah, they were.
It's no different than a guy going to a normal regular bar and buying a drink for a chick and hopefully to get a hookup.
Yeah, well, I wasn't looking for a hookup, but I was sure as fuck willing to drink their beer.
See, you went to a gay bar, and if, say, nobody knew you, or if I didn't know you or whatever and saw you going in there, I would just make the assumption that, that guy's a gay guy.
Yep, that's fine. Go ahead.
He's a straight acting gay.
Yeah, thanks for the beer, Fag.
Yeah.
I'm in.
And I'll tell you, since you brought that up, I was going through some YouTube clips, and somebody cut up The Sopranos each season.
Okay.
And they just cut up the most popular scenes in a lot of the episodes.
Okay.
And I was watching each season and all the popular episodes from each show of each season.
Right.
And I think it was in the third season of The Sopranos when that Vito was at the gay bar and he was all dressed up
cakes.
like he was dressed up like Rob Halford and all the leather gear and everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was dancing with some dude.
Yeah.
And then he got discovered by one of the other guys that happened to be there. They were there to collect the debt, and they just ran into him.
Right.
And he was like, dudes, it's just a joke. It's just a joke.
Yeah. So good.
So watching all these dudes, it's just like, oh my God, that just creeped me out.
Dude, the next season, I think it was the next season when he went running and he ended up in Vermont.
Yeah, and he was with that firefighter guy.
Johnny Cakes.
Yeah, Johnny Cakes.
That was some sick fucking shit.
I know.
You know, he'd be like, I miss you, Johnny Cakes. So it's like,
I know.
It's like, stop it. I can't fucking handle it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, getting back to the story.
Yeah.
Apparently gay men are becoming lesbians or something.
Okay.
On Tuesday night, broadly hit with the internet with the possibility of the most confusing headline of all time: the trans women who become lesbians after years as gay men.
Okay.
This left a lot of us scratching our heads attempting to enter leftist fantasy land to figure out the chronologically of a gay man becoming a lesbian. But it's much more simple than it sounds, and here's how it works.
Yeah.
Boy is attracted to boys.
Ugh.
Boy attracted to boy believes he's a female and transitions into a woman, which is something we've discussed. It's just like, you're just a gay man, you can't accept that you're a gay man, so it's easier for you to become a transgender into being a woman just so you can be with a man.
Sure.
And not have some stigma attached to it, right?
Sure.
A boy who was attracted to boys and thinks he's a woman suddenly becomes attracted to women. So, more or less, he's a guy that now is normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Boy,
except for what he wears.
Right. Boy once attracted to boys who thinks he's a woman is now attracted to women, now identifies as a lesbian transgender woman.
Jeez, oh man. This is too much. This is like overload for the sensory.
Exactly. So basically, it's a confused boy.
Yeah.
Who thinks he's attracted to boys, but doesn't really have his bearings straight as far as his maleness is concerned.
Yeah.
So to deal with his gay tendencies being attracted to men because he can't accept the fact that he's a man attracted to a man, he has to become a woman to be attracted to men.
Okay.
But then after he transitions, then his real true nature kicks in, and now he's attracted to women.
See, the problem is, why would you give up God's greatest gift, the penis? That, to have a cock is the fucking holy grail of any species. You literally dominate because you have a dick.
Sure.
And I mean, think about it. You even if you're a gay dude and you still keep your dick, you can fuck gay guys.
Sure.
So you could fuck either way. Once you cut it off, though, you're fucking lost.
Yeah, well, you're assuming that they went 100% with the surgery and everything.
Well, yeah, but if they're not, then they weren't all in the first place.
Well, look at quote unquote Bruce Jenner.
Yeah,
he's not all in.
No, of course not.
Well, so there you go. There's a prime example right there. Everybody wants to refer to Bruce Jenner as her. And it's disrespectful if you don't refer to Bruce as her or Caitlyn, blah, blah, blah. But this guy hasn't gone the full 9.
Yeah. If he did, would you call him her?
No, absolutely not.
He's just fucking mentally retarded.
Of course. And the thing is the rumor is he's made the statement he may transition back.
What does that mean? Getting a haircut?
Yeah, well, whatever. Just, lose the boobies and...
Which are probably fakes.
Yeah, who knows? Hey, only kill caller. You're on the air.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Scotty from the Commonwealth. What's up?
Hey, did you guys ever watch, like, Jerry Springer back in the day?
I've seen a few episodes. I was not an avid watcher.
Loved it.
Yeah, neither was I, but this one time I happened to be watching, he had not one, not two, but 3 transgendered women who used to be guys who had the operation who are now women who are now lesbians. And I remember I'm watching this fucking show and I'm like, where the fuck does he find these people? Like, you take a fucking ad out like in the fucking classifieds or something. But Springer actually had 3 of them on the show once. And it was fucking surreal. Like, I'm like, holy fuck, I have seen it all now. But, yeah, this was like, I'd say, about 10 years or so ago, thereabouts.
Okay. I don't have a comment, Scotty. I'm not making funny. It's just, in this day and age, I don't know what to believe. I mean, Jerry Springer, most of that is fake. So they could have just taken a couple of people, said, okay, this is your storyline. We're bringing you on the show. Now you have to act the part. And in reality, which is a strange way of putting it, that's how a lot of those shock value shows go. Most of what you see on there, it's not real. It's a storyline. They give them a script, they give them a story, they give them a part to play, and that's what they do.
I never really watched it that much, but it looked pretty convincing. But when you guys started talking about this, like, that's the first thing I thought of was that episode of Springer.
Sure.
Holy fuck.
All right.
Anyway, awesome show, and you guys have a good night. Hail and kill. Fuck you, pal. And hand job.
All right, there he goes.
All right.
All right. I was more, if you want to look at shock value shows, and there's a good documentary out there if you ever want to watch it.
Shock value shows?
No, a documentary on a shock value show.
Okay.
Is the documentary on the Morton Downey Jr. show.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was just ridiculous.
He was a fucking psycho.
He was. But there is a documentary out there about that.
Okay.
So you have to watch. I did watch that. It's just like I remember some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So he was really a big forerunner in the whole Jerry Springer shocking TV bullshit. You know what I mean? Because so much of it was made up, and so much of it was what's the word I'm looking for? They ginned up the whole scenario,
right?
And a lot of it's just not real.
Dude, I will tell you though, I love fucking Maury Povich. That dude went from being news guy to straight up fucking kook.
Well, that's where the money is. Dude,
that shit he does when he gets the people and teases them for fucking 50 minutes about if they're the dad or not.
Sure.
I fucking love it. I can't stop watching it. It is anytime I see a news clip or anything with it, I have to watch it.
Sure.
Because it's just fucking hysterical. See, look at that. Springer, awesome. I remember that show when he brought the Klan out.
Mm-hmm.
He had the Klan and a bunch of black guys.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. All right. Well, getting back to this.
All right.
The article introduces us to 2 former gay men.
Okay.
Who turn into lesbian transgender women.
Okay.
One of the trans lesbians who went by the pseudonym Allison for reasons of anonymity grew up slight and slender, gay biological male.
All right.
When he entered puberty, he began to struggle with feelings of discomfort in and anxiety about her body.
Ugh.
She was terrified of becoming big and muscular and masculine, like her older brother, whom she described as a very shitty misogynist.
Yeah. Did she still possess a cock?
It didn't say.
All right. Well, see, that's part that is that not an important part of the story here?
It should be, but the thing is that everybody's so wrapped up with this. How do you identify, regardless of your physical attributes?
Yeah, well, that makes
that they just accept it as, oh, well, I guess you're a woman now.
Yeah, so dumb.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you happen to see the latest comment about this show on iTunes?
No, what happened?
Somebody put, great show if you're into bigoted misogynists.
Oh, okay. Good.
I was just like, wow. Okay.
Okay. Fine with me.
I love it.
Couldn't care less.
I laughed.
Yeah.
He goes on, I found guys hot, but I also found a lot of them repellent in terms of personality or maturity, said Allison.
Okay.
I was raised by a feminist mother. See, therein lies the problem right there.
Exactly, and that's why you're queer.
Exactly. So almost all dudes in their misogyny were complete turnoffs.
Mm-hmm. So ugly mom couldn't get a date.
Yeah, so there you go. That's the reason why you're fucked up.
Yeah.
Because you had a mother who ranted and raved about her ideology.
You had a mom that taught you to be your daughter.
Yeah, more or less.
That's what you had.
She
didn't know how to teach you to be a man.
Yeah, she emasculated you.
Yeah, she did not know how to teach you to be a man.
Exactly. Allison eventually started to believe that he was a woman and transitioned. Yeah, because mom beat that into you. She browbeat you and made you an emasculated man is what happened.
Yeah.
So there you are. Therein lies the crux of your issues right there, fella.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Allison.
Yeah.
Formerly known as Albert.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
It was then that he could finally conceive of women as possible romantic or sexual interest without having to stomach her disgust at male heterosexuality or having to view herself as complicit in it.
Jesus. Talk about making having a girlfriend just sound fucking terrible.
It is.
So basically wanted to have a chick, but have no qualities at all of being a dude into that relationship.
Right.
God. People are fucked up.
Absolutely. Those heterosexuals are the worst. All that procreation and whatnot, the worst.
Hold on. Stop right there. In your life, would you say you've had sex 1,000 times?
Probably. I would guess that to be an accurate number.
Okay. In those 1,000 times, the number of times that you thought about this could end up being procreation, good for me, was what? How many times?
Say that one more time.
How many times of that 1,000 did you hope and were you wishful that there would be, or you even considered in a positive way, procreating?
Never.
Now, once in 1,000 times.
Not even once.
Of all your friends that have children, myself included, how many people ever thought realistically, and no lying, folks, how many were thinking, I'm going to make a kid now? One out of every what? 10,000?
Yeah, it used to be where people planned it. Used to be. But now, because of the sexual revolution, mostly of the 60s, people were just so carefree about slinging that cock around, they didn't give two thoughts about it,
When I first got married, and when my ex got pregnant with my daughter, believe me when I tell you, there was no thought at all of, man, it'll be great to have a child. It was, get those pants off and let's get to that pussy.
Yeah.
That's what it was about.
Sure.
It was like, you're going to suck my dick for a little while, then I'm going to fuck. That's what it was about. Now, when my boys were conceived, there was a little bit more, because I don't know if I've ever told the story or not, but I had this crazy theory. We had broke up for a little while, and I had some crazy theory that the best way to fix it would be to have more kids, because I'm fucking brilliant like that.
Right.
Let's be honest. That also was a ruse, so I could get laid after not seeing her for 7 fucking weeks.
Sure.
I wanted to get fucking some puss. So that's what it was. Now maybe there was some truth to it, to fixing the relationship, or some thought to that, but it was a dumb thought combined with the need to get laid. That's it. Nobody's thinking about procreation. I hate when the fags try to throw that out there like that is a thought and that is an impression that's being put out there. It is absolutely not an impression that is being put out there by anybody that's being halfway honest. Do you agree or
yeah,
not?
I would agree. Absolutely.
It's a ridiculous premise.
Now, years ago, people used to plan for families.
Yeah.
They were more responsible about that,
Mm-hmm.
But, society had made it so permissible that whole responsible procreation planning went out the window decades ago.
Right. That's just gone now.
Yeah. Well,
dude,
I think you recall the Howard Stern movie, right?
Sure.
Well, in that one scene in the movie, they were, Allison, the girl who played Allison, that
right
gal, they showed her basically keeping tabs on her temperature and her ovulation and this and that, because they were intentionally trying to get pregnant and have a child.
Sure.
But that was the 70s.
Yeah. Well, dude, these days you have a short window of how long it's going to take to get some pussy. And if it doesn't fall within that window, they're gone. You're not going to wait around till you're fucking married, for God's sakes. It's between dates, 3 and 5?
Yeah.
If you ain't getting laid by date 5, let's move the fuck on.
Sure.
Because this ain't happening. It's not worth your time. Right?
Well, that's the thing, that's the way people think today, or guys, normal guys think today.
Yeah. It's just such a stupid thing.
I agree. Getting back to this article, the other gay man turned trans lesbian went by the name of Anne, and like Allison, grew up as a gay biological male before transitioning and becoming attracted to women.
Right.
I pretty much forced myself to be gay pre-transition, Anne told Broadly. It might have even been partly that I was forced to feel that way, or it was that with a man I felt truly feminine, so it was hard to say for sure. So again, the whole confusion thing.
Right.
Now, this goes back to a lot of what you and I have spoken about many times over the show, about the whole strong male influence in your life.
Right.
And I've pointed this out on personal observation about, these young men I see driving around or sitting around while their girlfriend drives the car.
Right.
And does all that, because these are young men who are brought up in single parent homes being raised by their mothers.
Right.
So that's where we're at.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It is. As noted by Broadly, Allison and Anne alike feel that testosterone and later estrogen may have played a role in their sexual shift. But she recognized that it probably occurred in conjunction with the social and psychological changes that occurred once she was able to live as a woman.
Right.
I think now that I've transitioned, it's easier for me to date a woman honestly. See, there you go. It's the whole stigma.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with biology, and it doesn't have to do with anything except your mental, where you are mentally.
Right.
I don't feel forced into that male role. So there you are.
Yep.
So, guys don't want to be guys because they don't know how to be guys, and they don't know how to be strong and be masculine and this and that. So it's just easier to go, well, I guess I'm a girl then.
Yeah, just horrible.
So then once they become a trans woman, then it's just like, okay, I'm just one of the girls now. Hey, I'm kind of attracted to chicks. I've always been attracted to chicks, but I was afraid to be attracted to chicks as a straight male because, I was being browbeaten.
That's just ridiculous.
We just live in a fucked up world. You know what? As much as things are kind of fucked up today, I'm glad I was brought up at the end of that era.
Right.
I'm glad I escaped that whole stigma of, being part of the newer generation to where you're, kind of left out in the cold.
There's plenty of reasons why it's good to be closing in on death.
Exactly.
There's plenty of reasons why it's good.
I realized you lost your father a couple years ago. My dad just turned 88 this past Wednesday.
Yeah. Wow.
And as far as I'm concerned, you and I were both lucky to be raised by a guy who would kick your ass if you stepped out of line.
Also known as men.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no well, I don't feel like I should have shit. Can you imagine if you'd have come home to your dad and said, hey, I don't feel like I should have to do this homework. You know what it would have been? Get your ass in front of that fucking homework and do it.
Right.
That's it.
Sure.
Pop to the head and get fucking busy, fag.
Exactly.
And don't get up till you're done.
I got to tell you a story. I went and had some tires put on my car today.
Okay.
So I'm sitting in the waiting room.
Right.
Okay. And I have my friend visiting me here this weekend, right?
Yeah.
So she says, hey, this woman comes in with a couple of kids, young kids, very young kids.
Right.
Probably somewhere between the ages of 4 and maybe 6.
Right, sure.
Okay. So this one kid, he's running around in the waiting room on his tiptoes.
Right.
Kind of prancing around. That's the only way that I can describe it. He's prancing around.
How old?
I'm going to say 5, maybe 6.
Okay.
He's and he's got the whole very effeminate hand gestures and walking on his toes and just kind of very like a little fairy, right?
Okay.
And I didn't notice it, but she says to me, hey, did you get a load of that kid that was running around, on his tiptoes and, very effeminate hand gestures and this
sure.
and that?
Okay.
She says, I said, no, I didn't see that. She says, I had to sit there and laugh because I was thinking if he had a strong father, the father would say, knock that shit off. What are you walking around in high heels or something? You want to be a girl? So
true.
Huh?
That is so true.
I know, but I didn't see this. But that was her observation. That it was just like if there was a strong dad, tell him knock that shit off.
Maybe it's not the best punishment in the world, but I'll just say it, and maybe you can relate, maybe you can't. Do you remember when? This is how far we've gone the wrong way. Do you remember when being called a woman was like the worst punishment?
Yeah, of course.
Remember if you started whining or something, 8, 9 years old, you started crying or something. my dad would go into my mom's fucking closet and pull out a dress.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, do you want to put this on and go cry in the front yard? He would say that to me all the fucking time. Throw a dress at me. You want to go cry in the front yard, boy? And it was like,
suck it up.
You fucking suck. You would too. You would do that thing and you would pull it back. Because the last thing in the world you were going to do is go stand out in the front yard wearing a fucking skirt. Nowadays, they can't wait to do it.
Sure.
Nowadays, there's nobody smacking them and saying, what are you fucking doing, fairy?
Yeah.
And I'm fine with people doing whatever the fuck it is that they want to do. But holy shit. Accept what you are.
Yeah. It starts young, though. Your influences as a young person, it starts very young. And if you don't throttle that back or rein that in or at least set the example,
right,
it'll just go off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
Hail and Kill caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Hail and Kill, fellas.
Hail and Kill, who is this?
Matt.
Oh,
hey, guys.
It's
Matt.
our buddy Matt from Minnesota. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, sorry to get off topic. I was listening all night. I just first chance to get to call. I was actually kind of curious. You guys were talking earlier about that. Is it Sheldon?
Tarsha. Yes, our friend Sean Sheldon. Sean Nichols. Yes.
Yeah, you guys. He goes by that one name and then the other. I was trying to figure out what did he change his name or what was that all about?
They're telling us you got to go, dude.
In a nutshell, if you know Sheldon or Sean, he lives by a very California-esque philosophy, and he just felt that his former name was just not good for his career. That's all.
There was bad mojo.
Oh, okay.
It's bad mojo, and he needed something to get his chi in order.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just couldn't find anything online. It said I'd ask.
You did not think
but
that
to relate
at all.
to
you did not have
to relate to what you're talking about. I'm sorry. What?
You did not have an inkling that was the reason why.
I did. I just was curious. I couldn't find anything. But to relate to what you guys were just talking about, I was raised by my mom and my two brothers, and we didn't have a dad. And whenever she would always tell us, quit feeling sorry for yourself and get off your ass and work for something. That was my mom's motto, because we didn't have a dad, so she had to be kind of both. But she did raise us to be good, strong men. Get off your ass, quit feeling sorry for yourself. Kind of an attitude. So we didn't grow up to be pussies like most of people our age. So good deal. And Hail and Kill, fuck you, pal, and good show.
Here goes Matt.
Thanks for checking in, Matt.
How's Aubrey, Matt?
We're not going to talk about that.
Love it.
He's a strong man.
He is.
Raised by a strong woman.
He is, and he is.
Not a shock.